Hey everybody, welcome into the Beehive. I'm your host, TheBee at LLC, and this is where we stack precious metals like it's pollen and nectar. And today we are lucky here. We have Ian Everard joining us from ARK Silver Gold Osmium. Let me bring him up here on stage. Ian.
Hey there, LLC.
Good to see you. How you doing?
I'm exhausted. It's been a long day.
Yeah.
We got really busy.
Really? Well, that's good to hear. So in the door or over the phone, little both?
In the door, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Doing some local trades, some sort of buying and selling and exchanging, and got some product. I got to drive down to a wholesaler Friday probably.
Oh, nice. Looks like we got OC Stacker joining us, Neil's Han Dynasty, Metally Corrupted, Gerald Draper. Welcome in, guys. Good to have you. So, yeah. So, how are things looking overall? You had a busy day today. How's the past couple of weeks been? What's it?
Yeah, it's been strange. The mountain pass, that's my route to the store. A big lump of it fell off the other week. So that's turned a 35-minute journey into a 2-hour journey each way. So haven't been having the store open every day. So we're trying to do sort of 2 or 3 days a week till they get the temporary fix to the mountain pass.
Wow, how long is that supposed to take, you know?
They're supposed to, within a week or so, have made a little detour. So a big chunk fell off on a tight bend. So they're building a temporary embankment on the inside of that bend.
Let's hope that's safely done. That sounds a little nerve-wracking, but hope that gets put in soon for you. Homestead Aquarius, welcome in. So yeah, okay. I guess we'll just I had a few things here I wanted to go over with you. Of course, one of the big things was I guess we kind of knew this was coming, but the Saudi didn't re-up on the oil petrol dollar. So yeah, what do you have any thoughts on that?
For the dollar, I'm not particularly concerned. The amount of trades worldwide being done in dollars is increasing. Basically, the dollar has taken a lot of trades that were being done in euros. So I think the dollar is going to carry on being the world currency, but it will carry on slipping in being a reserve.
Yeah.
And I can't see anything replacing it as a reserve apart from real money, gold and silver.
Yeah. What do you have? Do you think it'll have much of an effect on us as less people grabbing dollars to buy oil and then forcing our inflation a little bit more, or really?
Well, that's a complex picture, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, here in the US, we have the exorbitant privilege that as we debase our currency, we're debasing dollars all the way around the world. So it doesn't have as a dramatic effect straight away.
True.
There's a much more delayed effect.
True, and I wonder if some of those countries, or I guess it would more probably be countries petrodollar wise that wouldn't need dollars necessarily to buy oil. I don't know enough about that market to fully understand it and whatnot, but I just wondered if some of those dollars coming back, if that's going to push our inflation as well, or
I think some of those dollars have, or definitely currency is fleeing to the US, and I'm sure that's part of the reason of the high property prices and the high stock market. I think that's a lot of foreign dollars, a lot of foreign currencies looking for the least dangerous place to put their currency.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and then last time we talked about the Shanghai and our some of our bankers being over there, and I heard after we had talked, I heard a few other people talking about it as well, and they said that since the first bankers here to the last they had checked, since they went over there, there'd been a pretty heavy drain on their basically COMEX on the silver side of things. So that definitely kind of makes you wonder if we were onto something there.
Oh, what you think? We borrowed some silver from China?
Well, that's kind of what the ongoing theory was. Maybe that they had made so many shorts that people were finally calling them
Yeah,
on it, and they had to go over there and actually buy back their
get,
silver. So
yeah.
whether that's what happened or not, but it just kind of hit me as that could be could be what happened there, because I guess it made a pretty big noticeable decline in those months that they were there, in their reserve
Interesting.
holdings, I guess is what they say. Now that's just what I hear, so I'm not an official on that, but I it lined up with our talk anyways.
Yeah, I wonder how far the collusion goes with, is this beyond nations? I mean, I guess from what knowledge we have of the owners of the banks, they're not that concerned about an individual country. They just want to enrich themselves.
See, that's kind of where my mindset is that this is a bigger game being played, and it's not just the nations. Although I think there's kind of, in my mind, possibly even little grants or gifts, or you can have this, but it's gonna be like this for a little while, and okay, I guess that's okay. Just kind of more, a little bit more power over them than just them alone doing what they want, from what I see, because I see global pulls in certain ways that kind of affect all the different countries, and that's just kind of, that's what makes me wonder anyway. So what are the possibilities? Welcome in, stack that gold, good to have you. So yeah, I don't know, that's kind of something that makes me lean more towards we're dealing with something that, to me, they kind of want to, if we're able to get that much control, it would be nice to leave powers in places so that all of the focus isn't necessarily on you, and you have buffers, for people to think that, no, it's all just rests on the president's shoulders there. He makes all the decisions, but it doesn't look that way to me overall, especially now here in the US. Now, maybe that's just a unique circumstance, but it's also that way when I look across the world, especially with this last major event that kind of took place worldwide, and watching the monetary system at the same time. And so maybe that's how I'm coming to my viewpoints, and whether I'm right or wrong, I don't know, but that's a lot of what I see. Is just, it seems to me that we're dealing with a larger power that's kind of just using the powers that be to keep people's focus in a certain way, I guess I would say. But I don't know. It's kind of my running theory.
There definitely doesn't seem to be any loyalty, does there, to the top of the American banking system will increase its wealth wherever it can, however it can. It seems to be a little. So if they have to go do a deal with China to get some silver back to get some of their brokers out of a dodgy short position, they'll do it.
Yeah. It's just it's that picture that they got to keep painted, and it doesn't really matter to them how they do it, I suppose. And I don't know, who knows, but makes you wonder.
And silver is such a tiny market. It's really interesting they pay so much attention to it, isn't it?
Yeah. And I was also watching another guy talk on the market who's smarter than I am, but and he was talking about, here you have the BIS coming in and hitting the market down, bullion banks basically selling into the market. And then you think, well, that knocks it down. Yeah. But then they just can take money, print it up in their slush fund from wherever, come back in and buy up a bunch more gold that they just sold off, at more, even if that, so when you have that type of backing power, it seems like you can come in and knock down the market and have it not hurt you, especially if you're central banks and you're stacking gold. I mean, it just gives others a little chance as well. So who knows how far that corruption goes back down in there, yeah.
Well, I mean, the whether it's corruption, well, yeah, I guess it is, but definitely collusion, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, exactly. Right.
The London gold pool was set up to suppress the price of gold.
Yep.
And they would aggressively short it. And if that stopped working, the banks would be told how much gold to sell, and with the understanding they could buy it back cheaper. But that broke down eventually, and gold free from that. So,
and it will happen here as well. But I mean, it does make you wonder. Here we were bringing that up, and then somebody points out that, hey, look at how these last 4 months since they visited that, the COMEX of theirs, supposedly has drained. So that would be an indication that we are getting closer to the bottom of the bucket on our excess reserves floating around. I don't know. But it's an interesting observation. Blistering Barnacles, good to see you. And then I heard that FinTech froze up, which is like a offshoot banking kind of apps type, probably, I'm guessing, crypto type stuff. And some banking funds have froze up in there. And the FDIC came out and said, yeah, well, that has nothing to do with us. If that is froze up, we don't cover anything outside of our, jurisdiction. So, and that's tied up quite like 1 million users' funds or something that suddenly they don't have access to. So I don't know all the details there, but that sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think we're going to see more and more of that as the more complex the systems get, even if it's not malicious or fraud. People's access to their currency is going to become more erratic.
Yeah, yep. And more of these types of scams will be popping up and draining people of their accounts, and there won't be any type of oversight on it and coverage, and that'll be more money fleeing. That it just could get interesting with money here late. And we know that the banks are actually underwater if they were to be called out on their stuff. So we still don't know. That's just, they kind of just keep kicking that down the road a little bit, don't they? Like, well, we'll see if things change, so we'll give you a little more time type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, with the short-term bank funding, so they could hand over their bonds that were cut in half in value and borrow the full value if they held it to maturity. So that's come to an end with them issuing new contracts. So now they're paying back plus interest. So they'll be worse off than they were when they started, because the assets still haven't gone up in value, whether it's government debt bonds or whether it's commercial real estate. In fact, the situation seems to be getting worse, doesn't it? A lot of the assets they're holding.
Yeah, and that's what and I also seen some interesting. So as our basically asset, which is debt, is held down and our interest up, it actually, although keeps our dollar strong, our debt is losing in value. Did I get that right?
Yeah. I mean, if the actual price you'd sell a bond for,
bond, right? I mean, that's basically bonds.
Got caught. Yeah, they got caught buying them with a lower interest rate. I mean, when the Fed put interest rates up, which they did say, didn't they? When Jerome Powell said, "I'm not even thinking about raising interest rates," and then they raised interest rates. But I wonder if those banks actually did know. It seems bizarre to me that they don't realize that the Federal Reserve is just full of monkey poo, or
Right.
Be fairly polite.
Right. And just kind of looking to swallow them up almost.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But we're definitely going to see more consolidation. I think that's a long-term objective, because what historically has made America a vibrant, strong economy is lots and lots of regional banks, where the banks know their clients, they know the community.
Right.
They could generate.
It's run on an economy instead of a.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The bank manager would know the businesses and know the people behind if somebody wanted to get a loan or a mortgage. So the more you break that up, I think you weaken the smaller businesses, and I think that's part of the long-term objective, is to reduce the resilience of communities, make them more and more dependent. Dependent on government. So the government's got an excuse to get bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
The bigger they get, the more opportunity there is to skim a bit off. And then they got these, it seems both sides of the political scene have some very weird ideas and agendas that aren't for the benefit of the people, for sure.
Sure, for sure. Yep.
So that's why we've resorted to precious metals, isn't it?
That's it.
You can't come head on and fight the system, but the weak point is that precious metals always have done and always will reveal and give an accounting for currency debasement.
Yeah, the reality of value almost.
Yep.
It just brings it. That's something that is value, has value, retains value. And when everything gets so out of proportion and disillusioned and such, as I was calling it, gas or air in the system, the bubble, as some people refer to it, and then that's how this just does in accounting, because reality sets back in, kind of, so.
Yeah, and although it's terrible for the majority of the population, for us as stackers, is actually very good news. Every 100 days, there's another $1 trillion created out of nowhere.
Yep.
That means eventually that will filter through, and the precious metals will keep resetting to the extra dollars that are out there.
Yeah.
And I've said it many times. We have a privilege in the US. We're using an overvalued currency to buy undervalued money.
Yes, that's for sure. There's a mod we like out there, and her handle is aspiring alchemist, alchemist, and I thought that's a good handle name, aspiring alchemist. I mean, because that's kind of the way you feel once you come to the realization that, look, this paper's being devalued, and it's not going to go the other way. Most likely, and if it does, either way, the metals are still something you want to hold on to in both those cases. So
no, we're too far down the road now to pull back.
Yeah.
And well, maybe we're not, but the consequences would be so dramatic
that either way
they want to put the pain off.
Yeah, for sure. I think it'll be through hyperinflation.
Pin it on the next administration, the next chair of the Federal Reserve. It's that's probably going to be the most dangerous time if we see more resignations. I mean, we see Jamie Dimon, isn't he taking early retirement?
He came after his trip to China.
Yeah. Oh, so but yeah, it's keep it simple, isn't it? And we are buying undervalued money with overvalued currency, and premiums are historically low as well, so that helps.
Yep, that's it. It's just that's what I kind of go over some of these basic points, just to go again and point out new things that are happening, and just to show, this is why we're doing what we're doing. And
and I'm finding is a lot of our clients will say, I just don't want to keep dollars in the bank. And they're turning it into metals. It's now whether they can quite put their finger on it, because rationally you would think, oh, okay, the Federal Reserve backed the banks that failed last year, everybody got recompense, didn't they? Everybody got their dollars back, didn't matter how much it was.
Obviously, that won't work forever.
Generally, we're dealing with people who might have $5, $10, $20, $30,000 in the bank, and then they think, you know what, I only want to keep enough for the next, what I need for a few months.
Yep.
And the current rate, I mean, we're growing steadily. I'm not, I don't really talk to other dealers whether they're increasing in their sales. But I'm sure more and more new people, first-time buyers, are coming into the market.
Oh yeah, yeah. I would think there's going to be more and more people, even if it's a small number. Just it becomes more and more obvious.
Yeah.
So, and the FDIC, when you look at it, like they have enough to cover like one smaller sized bank. With what
that's all I've got left, isn't it? Yeah.
And so if more than a few banks go,
yeah.
Now I think that the Fed will just kick on the printer, but it's not like it doesn't have an effect either way. So
no, because I think we're close to the point that the more debt we get into, the more we pile on. Now it's a rapid acceleration.
Yeah,
towards a point where it just doesn't work anymore.
Yep. In fact, speaking of that, I'm going to bring up the U.S. debt clock again. I know we look at this every once in a while, but I had somebody point out something I thought was interesting. Are we looking? Okay. So this here, who was it? I'll have to think of his name and give him props later. But anyway, he was pointing out that this interest on the debt is soon to overtake our expenditures on war.
Military, yeah.
And I found that to be interesting, that our debt, I mean, this is going to overtake. You can see it's moving faster than our word. And I would say that's also should be moving at a pretty fast rate as is right now. So that's something to see.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard estimates that we're not going to be far off 1.2 trillion just to service the debt.
That's craziness.
Annually. So has this got unfunded liabilities? Does the debt clock have unfunded liabilities on it?
I think it does, actually. Over where
I hear different amounts from
right there.
From 120 trillion to 200 trillion. I hear different figures. But it's definitely
U.S. unfunded liabilities right here.
Yeah.
Oh, am I not showing my screen or not? Oh, I'm not showing it now. Here, I'll bring that back up.
Because that's the real problem.
Yeah. So
what are we showing?
Let me pop this up if I get it all confused.
Well, 216 trillion.
Yes. Yep. Right there. You got it right there.
So that is what, 6 times. And the thing about the unfunded future liabilities, if you carry on debasing your currency to default on the debt, because basically printing more currency to pay interest on the debt and increasing the debt, you're defaulting on the debt. You're never really paying it back, and eventually it'll become meaningless.
Yep.
But what happens as you keep debasing the currency, the cost of your future unfunded liabilities rises.
Okay.
So you can nibble away at the debt, make it less meaningful, but that just increases your unfunded future liabilities. So at some point, people are going to be getting their benefit checks, their retirement checks from the government, and it won't pay for everything they need.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then you'll start getting a group of people who haven't got enough to pay for their basic living expenses.
Right. That they should have been able to happily retire on, and
should have been if they were told the truth. like, because a lot of people would probably have made different arrangements.
Yep, that's the thing.
You know, I keep telling my younger sister, she works in England, her pension cannot pay for her retirement.
Already, you think, kind of?
In 20 years' time,
yeah. If
there's no way it can fund her basic living expenses.
Yep. See, that's my thoughts, Ian, is aren't we to that point where it's going to be exponential kind of from here?
Yeah.
And that's, I think you just kind of hit on something that I'm wanting to point out, is that I kind of feel that way too, which is a bad thing, because I know that's exactly what most everyone is relying on. So
yeah, and the UK is spending, I think, it's pretty well a structural 5% deficit permanently. So when you start compounding that, and ours is probably getting near for 10% or more, isn't it? I think if you look at our increase in national debt compared to total GDP, our deficit is even higher. We're increasing at an incredible rate, because it's compound. Not only is it compound, it's the interest is still increasing.
Right.
If we keep refinancing cheaper, lower interest rate debt at higher rates.
Yep.
And I think we're at the point now that if they reduced interest rates, we will actually get more inflation.
Yep.
And traditionally the way to fight inflation was to increase interest rates to depress everything so much that people stop spending and prices fall.
Right.
But cause a load of harm, get a load of people to lose their jobs, and but you have a point though. For some, if you're increasing rates, anybody on an adjustable rate is now having to pay more to service their loan. Well, they're going to charge more for their goods and services they provide, so they can afford to pay at a higher rate on their loan.
Yep.
So at some point, increasing interest rates can start to be not, switch from deflationary through neutral to inflationary. So I think we're at the point there is no solution now. This is just going to play out how it's going to play out.
Keep bleeding out, and hopefully slowly. Yeah.
Well, was it Ernest Hemingway was asked once, how did you go bankrupt? And he said, slowly, and then suddenly all at once, something like that. And it's so it is panning out a lot slower than I thought. What I thought 4 years ago, I thought, how can this survive to the end of 2020? It's like, yet here we are in the middle of 2024. So I do wonder if the Federal Reserve have got an actual timing. It's Gerald, doubled in 5 years. And 20 to 24, it doubled in 4 years. And then I think 8 years before that, it doubled. Every president seems to manage to double the debt in it. So the answer is keep buying your money. Because it's insurance that will pay off.
Yep. At this point, you want to be an aspiring alchemist.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you actually are an alchemist, aren't you? You're taking. It's not even printed, is it? So you're taking digits that are floating around on a server somewhere.
Yep, and turn it into. And think about how much effort goes into that 1 ounce round that they pop out for you.
That is finite. Takes a lot of diesel and manpower and energy and exploration and permitting and kickbacks to the local crime syndicates, I guess, in some countries, and kickbacks to the government to be allowed to mine.
Yep. That's it. 79.
Finally, out the end comes a bit of silver.
Yep. Yep, and we take our stimmies and snap it up. Frostbite, welcome in, and Than Hung Lee 79. Good to see you guys. Yep, I agree.
So I mean, I'll defer every day from what I know to Peter Krauf, and he's saying the suppression of silver can't last for more than 2 years now. He's predicting 1 to 2 years, and there's going to be so little physical reserves they won't be able to manipulate it. And
well, that could be exactly what we've seen with our early retirer over there in China. Just these last few months is the exact. That could be what we're looking at right there.
And then on a world stage, there's definitely some cataclysmic events are coming. I mean, the rate of millionaires fleeing China is incredibly high. You know, they're fleeing to come here to Australia. They know the writing's on the wall.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and they have, well, both China. I hear about China. Of course, I'm not there, but I hear that they have kind of the same thing going, and that they have built a whole like cities of unmanned buildings. Plus, they have somewhat like as what we have going on with our large office buildings and whatnot. You know, so there's two big holes that are imploding right there. I don't know what's.
Oh, definitely, because all of the regions, some of them 60 or 70% of the local region's income is from leasing land to developers. So that's grinding to a halt. So now they've not got enough income to service the debt on all of the infrastructure all the regions have built. And I think, I completely agree with you, OC. I would say China is going down. Whether by the demise of lots of nations around the world, and with the great, the skills of the people who managed to flee here and their capital fleeing here, how long it will delay it here. Again, 3, 4, 5 years ago, I was convinced it was the end game. I would have been a signed up Rafi Farber supporter when last year, but last year when he was talking about everything collapsing in August this year and the dollar dying and we're switching completely over to precious metals, I thought that the time's not here, and it might not come here in our lifetime, but one thing for sure, the precious metals will give an accounting for the currency debasement we've had, and they haven't yet.
And that's even it's hard to argue that when you got the BIS bringing it into a tier 1 asset categories. So
when they classify gold as a tier 1 asset, I mean, and it's replacing. I mean, I think we said a couple of weeks ago, mentioned that as a reserve, for nations and central banks, gold now exceeds euros.
Okay.
So that means in order of currency, counting gold as a currency, although it's a bit of an insult because it's money primarily,
right?
You got the dollar, gold, euro.
Okay.
So
is that as? Can you explain? Okay, is that as like reserve holdings?
So central bank, part of its duty and responsibility is to keep some varied reserves.
Right.
So if they needed to stabilize that, if there was something dramatic happening, they can sell reserve to stabilize the nation's currency.
Yep. And probably revalue before that.
And also if a nation is in extreme trouble, it can sell its reserves to, in a dire situation, whether that's war or famine. So I don't agree with you, Frostbite. I think the dollar is going to be around for 5 to 15 years quite comfortably. But it will keep losing purchasing power compared to the precious metals. It's, compared to 1980, according to Mike Maloney's book, his latest book, We have 55 times more currency now than we did in 1980. Well, there's no way there's 55 times more wealth in the world. So if we're generous and say the world is 3 times richer than it was in 1980, or even say it was 4 times richer, you still got a factor of about 13 times more units of currency.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I you know, it's funny. Of course, I have not a clue. I'm bad with math and everything, so I'm just kind of out here, and I've never experienced this type of a hyperinflation thing. I just look at some of the people who talk about it in history, and we haven't had this type of world reserve before doing this. So there's some different aspects that I find interesting. Plus, we haven't had the rest of the world be able to invest in gold as this hyper.
No, there's no, for sure. There's more people buy, more nations, more individuals that could buy precious
Could
metals.
buy into it. So therefore, if it starts to go, it could go even faster. Plus, we have the internet now. Like, so there's things that make me wonder. I kind of lean towards it might happen a bit faster. I know you're, and I hope you're right, Ian, that you're leaning a little bit more towards that it'll probably be a much more grinding, long thing. And I hope you're right. But
I think so, because as capital always flees to where it's least worst treated.
Right.
And that is here in the US now.
Yes, but I mean, and I agree. I'm not arguing that. And I, like I say, I hope you're right. I do see though that some of the same decay that you see when you get these types of problems and debasements, your law starts fracturing, a lot of things start fracturing, and I see a lot of fracturing. So yeah, I mean, yeah, but I do find, I mean, it's very fascinating for me. I mean, as much as it makes my nerves a little off edge, it's interesting to watch and to be able to discuss, like, you know, have your mind on it, have Frostbite say, you know, it's probably going to be less than a decade, and you're like, I think it might be, you know, 15 years would probably pretty solid there. Yeah. So it's, you know, and me, and I kind of would probably lean a little faster, but I'm so, you know, don't have enough data behind me to be.
Yeah, but if you're in almost any country in the world where they're experiencing way worse currency debasement, i.e. inflation, than we are,
right,
people want to sell the local currency and buy dollars.
Yes.
Because they know if they hold dollars, if they need to spend them in a month or 2 months' time, they'll still have pretty well the same purchasing power. And so, don't get me wrong, I'm not defending this system.
No, I like hearing
in any way. I think it absolutely stinks. It's
for sure.
It's all about theft. But if we understand how it's playing out, what the course is in front of us, we're positioning ourselves. And yeah, I mean, Gerald says there about, if you look at gold, the dollar to the gold from 1913. So we've gone from $20 to $2,300. I mean, that's way less than 1% of the dollar's purchasing power left.
Right.
But what the concept to remember is, what's left, that 1% here today, is our 100%.
Yes.
And
but it was 50% of that 4 years ago. Like, so it is moving.
Yeah. And it definitely won't take 120 years for our 100% to go to 1%.
Right.
And it could be 10 years. It could be 10 years. Yes. Yeah.
I'll be surprised.
But it's okay to, you know, in saying that 98% OC of the value of our dollars is gone. So the 2% that's here is our 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. But
so
see,
what we earn each month or each year, that's our 100%. So if we know that that's going to revert to 2-3% and probably a whole lot quicker than in the last 120 years,
exactly,
we get out of the dollar into something, into money.
Yep. We're just bickering right now about timing when it, you know, that's really not the important thing. It just tells us if we have a bit more time or not, and you know, we're not sure. Luckily, we, you know, we're all on the same page. You know, this is the best coverage that is able to move quickly and be so liquid. I mean, there's other assets as well, but this is money in itself, as it were. And when that's the issue at hand, it's probably not bad.
I've just seen that comment disappearing off the screen, and yeah, that's correct. In fact, no one actually knows how many euro dollars, and when I say euro dollars, that just means dollars created outside of the US. So other entities and banks outside of the US can create loans out of nowhere and create dollars that have to be paid back with dollars plus interest. So yes, it is a complicated picture, for sure.
Yeah.
But we are in that situation where people are fleeing to the dollar. You know, and I think Brent Johnson was one of the smartest minds. He was talking about this a long time ago, the dollar milkshake theory. He didn't get everything right because he predicted gold would go to $700.
Right.
It didn't. It dropped to 1,600. I think was the lowest it got after his prediction. But I think he's correct.
He's correct on a lot of what he's saying, no doubt. It's gonna be.
But so I think part of the confusion can get in. You know, all our sound money people, we want that reset. We want the gold and silver and to actually have their true purchasing power.
Yep. And
that's going to happen whether the dollar stops, collapses, or not. But you know, some things might actually get cheaper in dollars for a while. But I am convinced that gold and silver won't. They'll keep adjusting.
And a good example of that is like draining the petrol reserves that we have to keep the value of the gas down. It might even went down on the pump a little bit, but we're draining our reserves just to keep people hidden from the actual inflation that's coming. Then we're going to have no reserves and a higher gas price.
Yeah, and that's a whole complicated picture. I've just seen a comment there by Truth Seeker. Yeah, it's 20% of all the dollars in existence were created in 2020 in 1 year.
See, that's what I want to point out real quick is OC says 98% of the value. Okay, now I was saying that when I started stacking at a booth, and we already had a chart showing, okay, the dollar's lost 98% of its value. That was in 2017, 2018, and we've lost half of our value since then. So I know that the 98% value is I mean, we're looking, I mean, like he said, within the last 3 to 4 years, you know, we've had 50% of the dollars were printed. So, I mean, I know that that's this exponential part that I'm wondering how fast is this exponential going to, you know, that's kind of, you know, how Mike Maloney talks about, you know, the exponential and how if you are filling a stadium with water, that, you know, it takes, you know, if it doubles every time, the first few drops don't do nothing. But once you're to 50% of the stadium, a doubling of that, and you're
drowned. Yeah. I mean, if you divide 20 by 2,330, that's what you get. Does that show up?
Yep. Let me pull you over here.
So that's 0. It's less than 1%. It's 0. It's
0.
8.5%.
Okay.
So that's what's left. And that's not from 1913. That's from 1933. So that's 91 years.
Yeah. Okay.
And at the end of the day, you know, and I can't remember who I heard it from first, but the dollar is a derivative of gold. It only has value whilst it can buy gold.
Yes, I've been that's been my thinking too for quite a while. Is once I got in and looked into it, that's kind of where I figured things out was okay.
So throughout recent history and then throughout since 1934, it's been a deliberate policy to prevent, scare, create ignorance, just everything they can possibly do to prevent people from owning precious metals.
Yeah.
You know, why are they so scared of it? Right. You know, if the fiat dollar is so good, it's like,
no, that's the thing, and I think we're getting closer to the end, and it is up. I mean, it is up, and and it's getting volatile, a couple dollars a day. So, and I know people have been joking, laughing, oh, it won't get to the $5 a day. I bet it gets to the $5 a day move before. What do you think about that, the $5 a day move?
Well, so I'm predicting the journey from where we're just under $30, aren't we?
Yeah, we were moving up, right? We were almost to it last I checked. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, if we're going to go from $30 to $300, you've got to have, it's got to be doing $1 a day, hasn't it, for 270 days?
Okay.
I mean, that would be awesome as a dealer. That'll make my life so much more easier. I mean, I'll buy on the Monday from the wholesaler and I'll sell it on the Friday, and it would have gone up $1. But the only problem is then my restocking has gone up $1. So,
yeah.
But it will make the business of precious metals dealer if you just had a steady.
Oh yeah. It'll be up and down, but I think it'll be up and down $5 move. Like we're up, you know, we go up $3, and the next day we come back $2, and you know.
Yeah, and we had that $2 smackdown, didn't we? Was it two weeks ago?
Yep.
On Friday.
Yep.
And so normally when you have a gap down like that, you have an equivalent gap up at some point. That gap gets filled the other way.
Okay. Yeah, I just think it's going to start to get more volatile as things.
Yeah. My concern is at some point, and it could be sooner than I think, it's going to become very hard to buy precious metals. Now, how are they going to do that? I mean, silver could easily be described of national importance or a strategic metal.
Yep.
Interestingly, the US Geological Survey left it off the list of critical minerals and elements.
Yeah, it used to be on the military.
They left it off, and yet previously they've been quoted as saying silver will be the first element to become extinct.
Yes, yes.
So then it must be a critical element.
Yep. Yeah, I think that was obviously. Yeah, I mean
that was deliberate, wasn't it?
Obviously.
Yeah. But it's almost now. I think it's if the number of people are going to wake up is just the number of people that there are now, they're going to keep on buying. I think there's enough momentum now, and enough people know what the situation is, that the physical stocks will run out.
Yep. That's definitely a high probability. Well, let's talk a bit about osmium. What's new in the osmium world?
I need to check in. I think we're getting very close to the price rise.
That's what I was wondering. How's that looking? We got to be coming up on that, huh?
Yeah, we've just our last combination of orders has left Germany. 19th, 2 days ago. So I'm looking forward to that. Should turn up Friday.
Oh, good.
And we've just placed our 77th order for osmium.
Nice.
The network of state institutes is expanding, which is good. Really excited about that. That's really exciting how that's growing.
Good to hear.
Yeah. So we're all gonna get together and do a Zoom at some point soon and work out how to share our strengths, you know, on marketing, on ideas, because we've all got our distinct skill sets.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's going to be a lot of international promotion. The Osmium Institute are working with free distinct areas that will dramatically improve the public awareness of osmium.
Yeah, have we been able to clear any specifics yet, or we're still working on that?
Noticed plenty of non-disclosure agreements floating around there, so I don't want to get on the wrong side of them. But it's going to happen very quickly. So again, I'm confidently predicting the awareness is going to break out.
Yeah.
And, so that will be.
We better hurry because the bee is breaking out the info right here. So yeah, well, it's very interesting. I'm trying to squeeze together another order hopefully before that repricing happens, but I know that's coming in soon here probably.
Yeah, I will hopefully get a little bit of warning, so I can call around all
Well, give me
potential clients and existing clients. Just yeah, we're going to get an X% rise.
Yeah, because I'm trying to save up a little bit and hopefully get one more piece. So that'd be, give me a call. Definitely put me on that list.
I will.
Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So within how's their grand opening going, their store over there? What all did that entail over there? What did that do for them when you went over?
It got a little local awareness. They had about 300-400 people came on the public day. A lot of pizza and beer was consumed. I made some good connections. I just got an email from someone I met. So that's interesting development. They want to work with us here in the US with Osmium. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that pans out.
Nice.
Not enough hours in a day sometimes, LLC.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah.
I could really spend all my time just concentrating on Osmium at the moment, but
yeah,
I need to do 60, 70 hours a week just on the silver and gold as well.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's cool though that you. I mean, I'm sure it's putting you, keeping you busy, no doubt. But it's pretty cool to be the flagship store for Osmium here, and
yeah. I mean,
take off like you're starting to see it gain some traction over here. So
yeah, it's been a lot of work, but it's beginning to pay back with the sales for sure. But yeah, for whatever reason, I was the one that noticed them at New Orleans in 2022. There was plenty of really rich, successful investor types there, and none of them seemed to grasp it.
It was sure,
and I think it's very binary. And I think anybody think, yeah, I'll think about that. They never come back to it. It seems to be a on-off switch. I won't forget Tiger.
Yep, and
get that sorted out.
You better put him on that list too that I just got on.
Yeah, and OC, yeah, the number of channels talking about it is incredible. So thank you everybody who's involved in that. I think it's awesome because it's allowing the smaller players to get in on the action.
Yeah,
before any big companies get in, and the big companies are coming.
Sure. Once we do the work for them, they'll come to eat us, swallow us up. So yeah, I'm glad to see her back after you got drugged through the jungle over there on Tiger's channel. My goodness, he had you on for quite a while there. So
yeah, he takes no prisoners, does he?
he pulls you into the jungle. We'll just leave it at that. No, that was cool.
Yeah, I'm sure we can do that, Gerald. He's got some 2016 Star Trek Enterprise. I think he means privy logo, not pervy.
Right, yeah.
I guess that's auto correct.
Oh, I see. He's interested in some trading or something. Give him a call, Gerald. Give him a call.
Yeah, correct that to privy.
Right? Yeah, give him a call at 307-264-9441. All right. Okay, we got some. Oh, yeah. Let's see if I can try some of these things here. Got some. No, it's not going to do it. Oh, there we go. All right. Yeah, well, cool. What do you guys have any questions there in the chat? We can ask Ian before he gets out of here?
So yeah, I mean, summer is here, so no better time to take your osmium out in the sunshine and show people.
No doubt. Have you heard anything? You probably haven't heard anything from the jeweler. Give him a call for me, everyone.
I was supposed to go see him yesterday, but I got bogged down with a number of orders I had to get out. So I will catch up with him tomorrow. But yes, yours is in progress.
Is it awesome? Oh, I can't
in
wait.
Progress.
I'm
weekly deals. Yeah, heck, we've got sovereign coins from $2.25 premium. So that's less than a lot of people are selling rounds for. So that's Britannias, Kangaroos, Philharmonics, Krugerrands, $2.25 premium. And this might interest some of you here. These just came in yesterday. We've got the 007 Royal Mint.
Oh yeah.
49 fine.
Those are cool.
I didn't even know they did. Fine. Yeah, it's a 49 British Royal Mint product. I didn't know they did one.
The British are on their way.
And then they got diamonds are forever on the back, but that should really say osmium, shouldn't it?
That would be a correct statement anyway, if it was.
And what else we got? Well, yeah, we got lots of interesting 10-ounce bars. These I didn't like these to start with, but these are pretty cool.
So hey, Mark, yeah, no, those are good, solid.
Yeah. Mark. I don't know if there is still a current bar. We've got some NTRs, Northern Territorial Resources. Maybe that's what that stands for. Refiners. That must be Northern Territory Refiners. Could be. Yep. And we got some Asahis have come in.
Yeah. Oh, I like the Asahis. Those are nice too.
Yeah. Got an unusual, bit better than the waffle back, isn't it? A bit classier.
Yeah, I like that's kind of a sleek looking bar.
And we've got some OPM metals.
Oh yeah, I got to get some of those. I need one of those. Those are getting a little more interesting in the stacker world.
Are they? Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Because, they're just one of those things that got swallowed up, and
a
bit of a story behind them. And
oh, you'll have to tell me. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And we got the RCMs.
Oh, those are really sought after as well. A lot of people really like those. They have kind of everything you can look for as far as they got a serial number and all the labeling you can want. And
got that nice serial number there, haven't they?
Yep. And they got they're covered. And those are 4.9s as well, aren't they?
Yeah, those are 4.9s. We've probably got about 30 or 40 different types of 10-ounce bars now.
Sweet.
We had a lot of 1-ounce rounds come in, so we've got some quite interesting ones. So I'll have to get those catalogued up. Price on the 10-ounce bars, OCs. So our 10 ounces to you guys, $1.30 an ounce over genuine spot.
Nice. Beautiful.
And the 007, yeah, you can have one OC at $1.30 per ounce. So, but yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yep, I like them.
I don't know when they came out. I don't actually ever remember seeing them, but they just came in.
I have not seen the bars. I've seen the rounds
yeah,
a while, but I haven't seen it in a bar like that. So that's cool.
And 4.9 fine.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I wonder if I could get some osmium in there somehow. Could maybe.
One for each one of my friends. He said, "Well, is that one for each one of your friends here in chat?"
I'm sure we can do something. Has anyone requested an osmium grill?
like a grill for your teeth? Wrapper grill?
Oh, Gerald, 4 years ago they came out.
Yep.
Okay. That's probably why I don't remember them. Yeah, it's interesting sometimes when the wholesaler's having to clear out, you just, you say wholesaler's choice, and sometimes you get a lot of, like the sort of more normal ones.
Yep.
And
That's good.
sometimes,
Like Tiger was saying, you know, it's nice to have both. It's nice to have some fancier ones, and then you just need some basic bullion that you can, if you need to
yeah,
liquidate, you can grab that piece.
yeah, and some people just like these basic ones because
For sure.
they're just known quantity.
You bet it'll
They know
become.
them, they recognize them. Oh yeah, well these came in the door. I didn't know these existed. These are the Indian head rounds.
Nice. Those are nice.
So yeah, I've probably got 20 or 30 different types of 1 ounce rounds as well. So
Cool. Yeah, I like a little variety in my rounds as well. So, all right. Well, I think that's about what I got for you, Ian. You got anything special you wanna leave us with?
I think Neil made a great comment there. Just be kind, be polite, be helpful.
Yes,
You
Neil is
know,
known for his be kind, helpful, and grateful comments. And
yeah, that's pretty good advice. And I think probably the best investment you can make is on education. Just keep that critical thinking going. It's okay to have, you know, a formed opinion, but keep looking for things that might challenge that, get you to reassess, and keep auto correcting, you know.
Yep.
Because it's going to get more complicated, the path in front of us.
I
But
agree.
we're on a great path already. All of us at stacking. Broke stack of 3D molds for osmium. So the Osmium Institute did experiment crystallizing osmium on a pure carbon form. So they did make some osmium cats, which look pretty, I don't know. I think for the amount of effort it took, it didn't really work. They did make some osmium pearls, so some spheres, you know, covered with osmium. So tis possible to crystallize it onto a pure carbon base, but expensive. Prince of Platinum and Osmium. That's Neil. He's claiming, is he?
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I see what it is.
Yeah, I picked up some interesting platinum. Look out for platinum eagles because I don't think they're making a business strike this year.
Really?
And they might. I did hear they might even be stopping doing them permanently.
I heard that as well.
You heard that as well, did you? So I heard this from a major wholesaler.
I heard that as well. I'm not sure, but I did hear that.
Good time to pick up the 1/4 ounce and 1/2 ounce if you can't run to a 1 ounce.
Yep, I agree. And it's been under 1,000. I think it's back up to about 1,000 now, but it's still a good buy, I think.
I think we're 980s, weren't we?
Yep,
Yeah.
Yep. So still a good time.
And I never realized how beautiful they are. Let me pull one out here. Oh. I think I have a loose one somewhere. I never realized how stunningly beautiful the platinum eagles are. But that was Neil got me back into looking out for platinum deals.
Yeah.
So
I have 197.
Are they incredible?
Yeah, that's a 2002. Nice.
3, I think. Is it a 2 or a 3?
A 2, I think. 2002. Yeah, that's a nice one.
The detail is just beautiful on them, isn't it?
Yeah, they're gorgeous. Yep.
So I think these could have good upside potential. They're not, and they stopped doing the fractional a while back, didn't they?
Yeah, there's not a lot. I don't know exactly with the U.S. Mint and their fractional, but yeah, I don't see much of it. Yeah, I don't even think they do their 1/4 ounce anymore, do they, or not?
No.
Yeah, so no. But and there's only I have the series of the kookaburras because there's only 3 of those. They just started those a few years ago, the 10th ounce kookaburras. So yeah,
Oh, sorry, OC. Yeah, well, that's the 10th ounce one, is it? OC's talking
Yeah,
about.
that's probably
Yeah.
the one you snagged from. He was whining about he didn't you get.
If I find another one, I'll let you know, OC.
Cool, awesome, Ian. Well, it was great having you on, and we'll get you back here in a couple of weeks and get you back up here for some more info.
Okay, and any of the regulars want a deal, give me a call and I will make a deal.
For sure. All right, guys out there, thanks for showing up tonight. Gerald Draper, Tiger Stacker, OC Stacker, Niels, Blistering, Barnacles, the Broke Stacker. Thanks, guys, for showing up. And I'll be back this Saturday with a spin and bin. So I will catch you guys there.
So be hive yourself.
And be kind, hopeful, and grateful.
Yeah.
See you later.